Tavern. So a little tavern inside New Tristram.
It looks as inviting and run down as always.
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny because a lot of the lore books actually address places like this. Like even the section I was just reading in the book we're on now, talks about a place that's all run down by the coast, called the One-Eyed Sal's. So, yeah, it's definitely a cool aspect of things like this. You can see a lot of the old used up barrels laying around all over the place.
Right. I like how everything's tattered. The inhabitants of Tristram really don't care that everything is, falling apart, and they don't care to make anything new. They're just kind of living life as they know it. Run down. They don't care about fixing the town up. They're comfortable living in this area. It's kind of shanty town.
It makes me wish I could relive the moment when I first loaded up the Diablo 1 demo and, heard that opening guitar strain and just wandering around the kind of Twilight environment and just the emotion that was there of, okay, this is a place that is very sad.
Well, I'm really hoping they recapture that feeling because really it was a great one.
Next shot we got is one of the more prominent screenshots. They actually made it available as a desktop download. They put the Blizzard logo and the Diablo 3 logo up there, and it is the shot of Tristram at night, looking very ominous. We got crows all over the place. Yeah. The cathedral in the background with its red light in the windows.
We've got Deckard Cain's cage that we smashed open.
Yep.
You got the little blood moon up there at the left side.
Poisoned well.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, yes, from Diablo 1, the Poisoned Well. So this is the center of Tristram.
Yes, this
all
is
the buildings
old
around
Tristram
it destroyed.
Looking to the cathedral.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you have a very ominous fog obscuring a lot of the vision.
To be able to get that view of the cathedral, the buildings like Griswold's Place and that one dude, I don't remember his name, his tavern would have had to been, Ogden's tavern would have had to been destroyed to be able to get that view from the fountain, the center of town.
I think they've just hand-waved that, because, looking at it, the orientation of things, like the well and the stalks, you wouldn't be looking at the cathedral
right.
if you were standing in the same place in Diablo 2. But I don't think that's really what's important here. What's important here is that it's badass and makes you think, wow, New Tristram is sad. This place is evil.
Definitely. Very bad vibes going on here.
Yeah, that is not somewhere you would spend the night in
Demonic
the sleeping
crows. Bag. No, you'd get your eyes pecked out at night.
Yeah, I'd go all Diablo 1 cinematic on you.
That's the place I look for.
Eyes
I'm
pecked
not
out
comfortable
at night.
unless I'm in a place like that.
I don't think those crows are gonna wait till night. This is straight up scary town. This is double hell, scary town. Welcome home.
One frozen orb would fix that whole place right up.
Or 7.
7. Yeah, I mean, if we're going like pre-global cooldown frozen orb, this place would just be right fixed up.
I would much rather go meteor and try and hit the birds in midair. That would be my goal. What can I say? I'm a dreamer.
Let's move on to the next shot.
This is cool.
It's very cool.
And this looks to be Chaldeus? Question mark?
That's what it looks like.
This looks like
Maybe
a place
the
that needs
backside
to
of it.
have demons like coming from the palace inside out and running down the hills. This place just looks like it hasn't been rampaged enough.
No, it's definitely not.
This is Chaldeum.
Right, I just checked the Chaldean page and this is up on there.
You can also see the artist signature at the bottom left. Froy? Is that what it says? Not familiar with that one. It's not super detailed.
This is from 01, another 10-year-old image.
Yeah.
Which looks very close to the Chaldeum we have today.
Yeah, it has a lot of the same structural and whatnot. It's kind of an interesting shot because it shows a lot of the surrounding landscape that the others don't. You kind of get a perspective of just how complex the architecture would need to be in such a such a landscape. It's not just, solid flat land and they build a city on it. It's literally mountainsides and cliffsides and, waterfalls and all of these other things that you would have to work your way around. Definitely not a land that would be easily conquered.
Rivendell.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that, but I wasn't going to say it.
I'm trying to find that image. I think it's another concept art image of that like island-like city.
Are you talking about the Amazon place?
I don't know. I'll let you know when I find it.
Yeah. The only major difference, if you were talking about, Rivendell from Lord of the Rings, is that this is obviously a completely different structure based on the fact that most of Rivendell was basically wood, and this is very, concrete stone, very solid.
Alright, I just put a link up to it.
Yeah. Peter Lee. Good man, good man.
Do we know what area this is?
To me, this looks like the Amazon aspect, and you see. Hold on, let me pull up the world map. It should be in the kind of the South Seas down there, down below West March. The world.
When I think Amazon, I don't really think port city. It's like these type of structures and everything.
Yeah, it looks like the Scovos Isles to me, if you're looking at the world map.
It fits
I
the
don't see what else.
description, though. They were the first traders of the world.
Yeah,
I hope we see this in game,
as do I.
because this place looks rad.
I have a feeling it won't be until an expansion, personally, but you know what? I'm okay with that.
I'd be happy with that.
Yeah. You can tell it literally, to me, reminds me of Greece.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
architecture, the Mediterranean Sea type appearance.
Mhm.
You have that huge statue column on that one central island coming out of the bay. I guess it's just a giant tower, actually. But, yeah, definitely very cool.
This is one of the concept art pieces that stuck out at me like right away because it's a very, very dramatic change of pace.
Oh, yeah. I would totally live there.
Definitely.
I would not live at New Tristram.
If you were to live somewhere in the Diablo universe, where would it be, judging from the concept art pictures?
I
You
was
would be
gonna
right
say earlier, like, why do people keep insisting on going back to Tristram or like New Tristram? Like,
Move on.
you guys just like
You'd think they
nuke
would have gotten
that
the
pla-
message
get-
by now.
get all the wizards you can find and get them to all cast the biggest motherfreaking meteor you can think of and blow that place completely out of the earth and call it good.
Well,
Starting with the cathedral. I mean, come on.
it is just like the real world. There are going to be areas that are run down, and people will continue to go there for the promise of gold. All throughout the lore and the stories, everybody's just like, "Oh man, I'm gonna get rich. Tristram is a gold mine."
Middle East.
I mean, how many times does Satan need to come out of Tristram for us to realize it's just not a good place to go?
Yeah.
7.
7.
Exact number. Quote me on it.
Good times.
Next piece of concept art we got is by far one of my favorites. And it is by Victor Lee. And it is the concept art for the Vessels, who we've mentioned many times on the show before.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
We all love this one. It makes us happy. It makes us terrified.
And if you look at the left hand, it definitely has the inspiration of the original 3 books.
Right. What's that hand called again?
Uh,
It was a gift from that one dude,
Lucian.
Lucian.
Right. Which, more or less by proxy, you could say directly from Mephisto.
Right. We saw Mephisto's having these gnarly hands in Diablo 2. And also the council members had these.
Yeah. And, in the story, Lucian's, front man, runner-up guy could actually flay people and wear their skin using the claw.
Oh, nasty.
Yeah. How rad would that be in the game?
That would suck because the only way that I would see that is if it flayed me or one of my party members.
Hey, I'm okay with seeing Ken get flayed for
Oh,
just one
yeah,
time. To see it.
I would totally sacrifice Ken to see that animation.
I would too.
Good luck with that. You didn't know already. I'm kind of a big deal.
We'll see. I like the teeth of Diablo spikes going down his spine. That's actually one of my favorite details. Those are just gnarly. Look like big railroad spikes. And I like the little notes he comes up with too. Head rolls and swings in uncontrolled fashion. You can get just such a crazy mental image from that. From the concept art. Looking how his head's all twisted into the side.
Yeah,
Imagine that thrashing around. Twitchy vibe. Hovering movement.
pretty spectacular in my book. Look at how his right bicep actually seems to congeal and head towards his elbow.
That's nasty.
It's like, yeah,
Decrepit
that's
arm.
no longer attached.
This is my good arm.
Reminds me of the Scary Movie. Grab my
Yeah.
little arm.
Give me your other one. Are you sure you want my other one?
Strong hand. Good times.
Really? Because my other one will fillet you alive. I can't control it.
So now after this, we get a couple of Caldeum. There's actually, I guess, strictly speaking, the next one in line is one that we've already talked about.
Right, this will be the last one we do tonight. This is all I've downloaded so far. So 15
Oh, you're saying that the vessel one will be
No. The Chaldean one.
the next. Okay, yeah.
Which we actually talked about earlier. This is the one that Dan speculated on. About the 2005 version of Diablo 3, that they took the architecture from that.
Skinny dipping. What?
And Jordan, focusing on the naked ladies. Or naked brush strokes, pretty much.
Hey, you call it what you
If
want.
you zoom in on the high-res version, man, you'll see what I'm talking about. Those
Break
are
out
not
the
people.
Coke bottles for those if you need to.
Now, something that this really makes me hope that we get to see is I'd really like it if there's sort of more friendly space in the game. Now, it is an action game. It is an adventure game. It is, it is a horror themed game. And so you do want to keep the pressure on. But at the same time, I'm really hoping that there's some environments like this that we just get to kind of look around and be in.
And relax.
Because and relax a bit, or at least feel a bit safe. And that are larger than what we've experienced in Diablo 1 and Diablo 2. So like Diablo 1, you've got Tristram, and it's, a little bit larger than 3 postage stamps. In Diablo 2, you've got each of the cities, but the cities themselves were, for the most part, fairly small.
Right.
Except for Lutego Lane. Lutego Lane was actually fairly sizable and had a number of really out-of-the-way places that you probably ignored because they weren't between you, Deckard Cain, and your town portal.
Yeah.
I went into the tavern to talk to Geglash. Who says I didn't?
Dude, the first time I played that game, I talked to everybody in town, and I ran around every town. I was soaking it all in.
Yeah, and so something like this, if this were just kind of out of the way, it wouldn't, ultimately you wouldn't be going there a whole lot, because once you've really explored the corners and you discover this, like, oh, well, there's nothing to do there. It's pretty, but there's nothing to do. You end up going into the triangle of, okay, waypoint, town portal, repair, waypoint, town portal, repair. That's normal and expected. But I'd love it if we just sort of get some larger areas that we can go around and explore, and more to see than just like, well, hey, if you stand way up at this corner here, you can see further down the cathedral than if you just go to the entrance. This is sort of like a palace environment. I'm looking at this, and it's like a home. You've got the sitting area, you've got the private bath, and what looks like a bed over in the corner here. So it's a palace or something, and I love this open air architecture, and I'd love just being in this kind of place and exploring the world of Diablo a bit more, have a bit more, going and finding and seeing things as a pace in the gameplay, just to add a beat to it, and then you go back to smashing things in the face.
One thing I would add that